So when I was married, this is how I was constantly thrown under the bus by my husband. He was a shade tree mechanic, little side hustle. We, were in church together, so everybody knew that that's what he did. He was either going to be doing their brakes, changing their oil, or giving them tune-ups on their car. Nice little side hustle that he did aside from working full time. Weird thing was, a lot of times after church, um, while we going around speaking to everybody, this, that, and the third, somebody would occasionally be like, "Thank you for letting your husband work on my car." Just like that. Facial expression and everything. And I would be like, "You welcome. Thank you for letting your husband help me move. You welcome." And in my mind, thinking, what is wrong with these people? Then I learned this is what was happening. So and so need a tune up. They would go to my husband, the one who did it. I need a tune up. Okay, I got to check with my wife. That sounds normal, right? That sounds pretty typical, right? He come home to me. So and so want me to work on her car, but I don't really want to. I say, if you don't want to do it, don't do it. I mean, if you're too tired, you're just too tired. You know, just let them know you're too tired. If you don't want to do it, it's okay if you don't want to do it sometimes. He go back, I ain't gonna be able to do it. What was happening was when they asked him, he took me, inserted me in it, saying he's got to check with his wife, basically meaning he has to get permission from his wife, right? That's the message he was sending. Come home to me, tell me he didn't want to do it. As his wife, I'm going to say, if you don't want to do it, don't do it. He takes that, go back to them, and act like I told him he can't work on their car. And that's why occasionally, when he did work on somebody's car, when he did help somebody move something, and the next time they saw me at church, "Thank you for letting your husband help me." And I would be like, "What do you mean, let him help you?" And I think one time I did ask one of the people, because she was a cousin. I was like, "What do you mean help?" I didn't. What do you mean let him help you? "Thank you for letting him help me. He worked on my car." Okay, you're welcome. Like I didn't get it until after the marriage was over and things clouds from trying to make a marriage work that was never going to work, and then so many pieces that were like floating around over my head just started falling into place. And this man constantly threw me under the bus like this. He always, if anytime, I think what his pattern was anytime if he just wanted to do it, or if he was okay with doing something, if somebody asked him whether it's something to do with their car or whatever, if he was okay with it, he would just go ahead and say yeah. But when he didn't want to do it, he would tell them, "I got to check with my wife." Then come home to me, instead of having the balls to tell them he didn't want to do it, or he was too tired this week or whatever, he would put me in the middle of it and say, "I got to check with her," basically saying I got to get permission from her. But then he would tell me he didn't want to, and I say, "If you don't want to, don't." Then he go back and say, "I'm not going to be able to do it." And then they thinking his wife won't let him help them. His wife won't let him work his side hustle working on cars. His wife told him no. And people were looking upside my head probably the entirety of my marriage, because this man who said he loved me did not protect me, but instead threw me under the bus to anybody he could, or for every opportunity that he had, if it was something that he didn't want to do, but he wasn't man enough to tell them he didn't want to do it. So ladies, if any of this sounds like familiar to you, where people are saying things to you, like, and you going, "What?" And some of the conversations that he's bringing to you, that's probably that could be what's happening. You got skid marks all up and down your back because the man who says he loves you keeps throwing you under the bus to other people and got people looking at you and thinking things about you that are not true. Thinking that you're not kind when you are. Thinking that you're mean when you're not. Thinking that you're controlling him, and that's the furthest thing from your mind. But you are being manipulated. But he'll have people thinking that you're manipulative with him and mean to him and controlling him and bossing him when he's manipulating you and throwing you under the bus and painting a negative picture of you to other people because he ain't man enough to just say no.